Today is July 8th. Welcome on into Daily Cards Live here on ClaibsOnline.com. He is Bob Ramsey. I'm Joe Roderick, broadcasting from Munganess St. Louis Acura. Also brought to you by Royal Banks of Missouri. Rammer, the Cardinals finish up their four-game series in D.C. today with a wraparound. They will play three different teams this week. You're playing the Nationals today on Monday, the Royals at home on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then you have the Cubs Friday, 2 Saturday, and 1 Sunday. Very weird week of baseball and scheduling. 7 games, 3 opponents, and 1 day off.
And I think you look at it, and without doing a ton of analysis of what pitchers, and you really don't know who you'll have available, would you rather have, let me pose it as a question, the day off Thursday or play Thursday and play one game Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Get rid of the doubleheader. What do you think you'd rather do?
I think
day offs are big.
But they're about to have a whole week off after this.
That's right.
Yeah. So I think they would rather just spend a little time at the ball field and just be done with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So well, and none of what we think we prefer matters anyway. You just got to go win games. And Cardinals have been doing a little better. And I got to tell you, I think I'm going to give in to you and probably recency bias, and it may come back and bite me. But all along, you've thought a number 1 or 2 starter, and I've kind of beat the drum for another bat. The offense is a little better. And for those who are just listening, my thumb and forefinger are about a quarter of an inch apart. The offense is a little better, but I think showing enough hope that, I think you've been right all along, Joe. The starting pitcher is a key.
Yeah, and today's starting pitcher, Miles Michaelis, I think really I know it's a lot to ask, but it'd be real nice if he went about 7 strong today and gave the bullpen another little day off. I know back end, Romero, Kettridge, and Helsley are now all on 2 full days rest in the bullpen, but it would be nice to not have to overwork a lot of guys today and get into this final week a little more healthier. And just having a solid performance by Michaelis too would be outstanding to see before we reach the halfway point.
Yeah, and the other thing, when you look at schedules, little things can make a difference, but it always doesn't show up in a box score or in the win-loss column. It's a day game, so you get home tonight at a decent hour. And those extra 3, going to bed at 11 o'clock or midnight as opposed to 4 in the morning, to me, that makes a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, so they will play today, an afternoon game. A 3:05 start time is what they have today at Nationals Park, and then they will fly back home against the Royals tomorrow, and we will preview that series against the cross-state rivals. Then Miles Michaelis on the mound, 6-7 with a 5.19 ERA for the Cardinals, going up against a lefty, Mitchell Parker, 5-4 with a 3.61 ERA, 68 strikeouts. On the year, Cardinals will look like this today. Mason Wynn leads off and plays short. Alec Burleson DHs. Wilson Contreras is behind the plate. Paul Goldschmidt at first. Nolan Arenado at third. Nolan Gorman at second, and Michael Ciani is in center field. Lars Nootbaar just activated about 2 hours ago. Jose Fermin sent back down to Memphis.
Makes
also
sense.
of note, Tommy Edman is starting his rehab assignment in Springfield. And Claibs and I were just talking about this on the lunch show, Rammer. You have, about 20 days of Tommy Edman that can go on rehab assignments, has not had a spring training, really didn't have any kind of formal off-season workouts of any kind. I don't expect to see him till well after the All-Star break. I think you have to figure out what Tommy Edman is going to be for you this year, and you use every single day possible you can with him down in the minors.
Yeah, I think that is a great point by you and Claibs, and I think that the timing kind of works out. The Cardinals will make some sort of movement. It might be by the All-Star break. By the trade deadline. It might be something so minor that it'd be just a blip that the national people wouldn't even look at it and our fans wouldn't even care, or it could be a big deal. The point is, by the first week of August, your roster is going to look at least a little different. and maybe a lot different. And that's where I think you find a spot for Tommy Edman.
Yeah, and I think a lot is going to be in how he performs down in the minors.
Sure.
I think if it is just average at all, I think he comes up here and he takes Michael Ciani's spot for a couple weeks, and
Man, I don't know.
they let him try to earn the starting center fielder spot because that's what they're paying for him to do.
Well, that if you and we know it happens. So I'm
Yeah.
not saying your point is wrong, but when we play contracts over production, that's when we get in trouble. We as
Mhm.
an organization, as a Cardinal Nation.
I'm not condoning it. Yeah.
Ciani is, based on metrics, the best center fielder in the game right now. His hitting has become not awful. I almost said acceptable, but let's say not awful. Uh, I think Edman might take a couple of starts away from him, but I think Tommy becomes the super sub, um, sort of like he was, and then Donovan was. I think it falls back to Edman that way, whether he comes in and plays third, center, second, left. I think that's how they'll work him in. I don't think Ciani's going to lose his job because he's been too good in center field, and his bat has been, again, not awful.
Yeah, and I think you're with Newbar coming back too. I think that's going to put Donovan maybe in that super sub role too. I mean, Gorman hit well this past week. He did, but I think moving forward, I think we're going to see maybe a little more Brendan Donovan playing some second base too.
Oh, I think absolutely, no question about it.
Mm.
But it does. Here's the thing: so long as it's not crazy stuff, um, the manager's job will be finding at bats for guys. But what I don't believe he can do is play contracts and play reputations. You know what I'm talking about. Our veteran corner guys who are both better. Arenado's played much better. Goldie a little better. But if you got a tough right-hander and Goldie doesn't have good numbers against him historically, Newt Barr should be in the lineup until he shows that he's not producing.
Nationals lineup for today. CJ Abrams leads off. He's at short. Lane Thomas is in right. James Wood in left. Jesse Winker DHs. Keibert Ruiz is catching. Luis Garcia Jr. at second. Juan Yepes is at first. Trey Linscomb is at third. And Jacob Young is in center field for the Nationals. A few familiar names there on that lineup for the Nationals today. Rammer, the big news over the weekend was the All-Star Game reserves coming out. We knew Ryan Helsley pretty much had a spot locked down on that. Ali Marmol tried to make a case over the weekend for Andrew Kittredge and JoJo Romero just for the number of holds that they have. Yeah, those were two names that didn't even cross my mind. If you would have sat here and you would have said who outside of Helsley would even have a shot at it, I mean, I honestly
say Mason Wynn, but there's so many good shortstops in the league.
So many good shortstops.
That point is moot as well. This is the way it should have been.
Yeah, so many good shortstops out there for in the National League. It is it is not a good position for Mason Wynn to be to try to contend for that All-Star game. Look at who's there. Just some of the other names that were kind of thrown out there. I mean, honestly, one of the biggest surprises to me, I know he's pitched well, but Paul Skeens being on that list was kind of a big shock to me. Him being a rookie and not starting
because he didn't have a full season. Yeah, good point.
And this, by the way, so the All-Star game, he was selected on July 7th. Last year, drafted on July 9th.
Wow. In less than a year, he's a major league all-star. That's tremendous.
First player to earn an all-star nod in a season after being selected first overall.
First ever.
First ever, number one overall draft pick, all-star the very next year.
Wow.
Yeah. That is amazing that he was able to do that. So let me ask you this, and I mean we'll find out here in a couple days. I'll be down in Arlington next all the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday for all this stuff going on. If you're Major League Baseball, you're trying to get eyes and create new stars. Does Paul Skeens start for the National League?
I think, yeah. I mean, it becomes more and more of an exhibition every year, and so you can make a good Vince McMahon argument for that. I'd want to look at all the starters and see who's done what and who's sort of earned it.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be silly to not acknowledge the Vince McMahoning of America and baseball, making an event, make people watch. You make a very interesting point.
Yeah. So that would be a decent vote for it right now. I know there's a few good pitchers out there for that, but I would say if you're trying to grow the game, you're trying to create new stars, that would be a good bet for that today. For that, but we'll find out more on that. One other game going on right now, by the way. Speaking of Paul Skeens, it is the Pirates and Mets going on right now. Skeens not on the mound for the Pirates today, but a decent schedule of games today, better than last week's 3 that were being played on Monday. So there is a little bit of a schedule going on in a few games today. Tomorrow we get Dodgers Phillies on the Major League Baseball schedule. So we'll talk about that on tomorrow's Daily Cards Live. That's going to wrap it up for our show today, Rammer. As always, we are brought to you by our folks and hosts here today, Munganast St. Louis Acura, and also Banks.
Royal Banks of Missouri, where better service means better banking, and regardless of what branch you go to, St. Louis, St. Charles, East Side, Northeast Missouri, each and every branch feels like your hometown bank and feels like hometown people taking care of your financial needs. 314-212-1500 is the number to get a hold of my friends at Royal Banks of Missouri.
He's Bob Ramsey. I'm Joe Roderick. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here on Daily Cards Live.
Munganast St. Louis Acura is making room for the 2025 MDX, so that means great deals for you on the 2024 MDX. We have over 100 2024 MDX models in stock, and you get financing as low as 3.9% for up to 60 months. Or you can lease a new MDX for just $559 per month for 36 months. Or get the MDX technology model for just $589 per month for 36 months. Munganast St. Louis Acura, better than ever for you.